Hey guys, thanks for finding the channel. Tobin here with you, and appreciate you guys checking us out. If you could subscribe here and subscribe to the WQAM YouTube page. Got a new Game Day Uncensored coming up on Sunday, 4 o'clock on WQAM. Myself, Omar Kelly, Alejandro Solana. We get you ready until kickoff. A little Sunday night football action coming on up, and it is always fun when it is Dolphins and Patriots. And Tua Tagovailoa undefeated against Bill Belichick, which just has to make him a salty dog, you know? I was listening to this Belichick today. Look, man, bless those people, even though they are a bunch of Sully and Murphs that have to go sit through that press conference with that curmudgeon. And, you know, it's funny. I do a show every day with a man who's like, you don't know the other side of him. You don't know the funny Belichick. And I look at Leroy with just these tilted eyes. I'm just like, dude, like tilted head, tilted look. I'm just like, dude, what are you talking about? Because I'm telling you, this guy, he is just, you know, like you just sit there with him and the tension is palpable. First of all, he's like running down the Dolphins. He's going on for 4 minutes about the Dolphins, basically in the hopes that nobody has any questions left, right? And then, of course, they do. And then the questions are always just super awkward. Like, for example, like he's being asked about Mike McDaniel and being a second-year play caller, somebody asked. And I'm not saying it's the best question in the world, but, like, you could just sense in the air just how weird it is in there with Bill Belichick and everything he's bringing to the table there. But he was asked about Mike McDaniel, and it was just like it was there like a fart in church.
Curious in your experience, you ever see that with new play callers? Obviously, Mike McDaniel going second year here.
I mean, they had a lot of production last year too. He scored over 30 points in 8 games, so.
You've gotten to know Mike McDaniel, Bill?
Yeah, no, I never coached with him.
All right, good talk, Bill. Thank you. Riveting stuff. Not So, you know, classic Belichick going into this week, you know, and you know, this is his personality now that he has Mac Jones. This isn't even like with Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. It was riveting. I'll get to a little bit more of him in just a question. But yeah, man, going into this week, Tua has never lost to Bill Belichick, 4-0. Tua did talk a little bit about that today, saying it doesn't matter. It was a cool day for Tua. He was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week, which he kind of threw cold water on. And one of the things that was cool today with their quarterback is he was discussing the idea that it is, you know, everybody overreacts to week one. Everybody gets crazy with week one. But this guy has looked when he is healthy, the guy has been an MVP candidate basically since he's been on the field. And it's interesting to see everybody kind of come over to the side here. The one thing that I was annoyed with though today, with the whole discussion of Tua is like everybody's still got to bring up the arm thing with him, right? And I'm not just going to talk about the reporter who brings this up because I actually thought this was a good question, but Tua really kind of puts a nail in the coffin on it, right? It's just like, why do we keep bringing up the arm thing with him? It's such a strange thing. The guy's got more deep attempts, more air yards, all of this discussion that Tyreek Hill was going to go wasted with him is just such a dumb thing. And you look around the league at all these guys who have alleged hooses. You know, they can go around and throw a ball a mile. You know, there's throw it over their mountains. And, you know, they're throwing punts to the opposition on Monday Night Football, not saying any names, who have, you know, rockets for arms. But Tua throws the ball and gets the ball down the field at a rate that's very, very impressive. Even Bill Belichick was bringing this up today, and he goes, well, you know, Dolphins, everything is, you don't want to get pressure because everything they have is yards after catch.
Bill, against the Chargers, Waddle and Hill both averaged over 19 yards every time they touched the ball, and Tua had 0 sacks. Is there a correlation there in terms of pressure on Tua and allowing plays to develop, and that is one of the keys against those weapons?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you pressure, you better get there because when those guys get the ball and there's not many people around them, you're looking at a lot of yardage. I mean, a lot of their yards are run after catch yards. I mean, it's not all like go routes and post routes. It's actually not a lot of that. It's a lot more, catch and run plays. So you start bringing a lot of people, you better get there because there's going to be a lot of space behind you if they get the ball. And they're both very good with the ball in their hands.
They are both very good with the ball in his hands, and I'd say that with Jalen Waddle, he's doing a lot of stuff across the field that he is getting and going. Tyreek Hill, though, is going down the field, dude. Like, I don't know, again, I don't know if he's taking, like, pot shots at Tua's arm strength there. Like, I got warped in because I'm a sick, twisted individual into a Hurts hierarchy. And even he was like, he put the Dolphins as his second team in his power rankings, which is not a rankings I know that you necessarily want to be in. But like the first thing, well, even with Tua's arm strength. Like I was looking at Clay Ferraro from Local 10. He put up this video today from practice, and Tua just like easy cheese throw right to Tyreek Hill, which is like 70 yards in the air or something like that. Like the dude can get the ball down the field. And yet this still continues to always be like a caveat that you got to throw in there. Like, he's great for a guy who doesn't have an arm. For a guy, because I do feel like the Tua criticism, there's less stuff that you got to be sensitive about now. It does feel like more people are coming around on it. Hell, he's the betting favorite right now to be the MVP. But it does feel a little bit like there's always that caveat of, yeah, but there's other guys that you would totally want better. And the other thing with Tua is just like he feels, man, the guy's won a lot of games. Like when he goes out there, the durability thing has been a question. But when he is out there, his record's been very, very good. And the one thing you always want with a franchise quarterback is that ability that when things aren't going perfect for your team or when your team needs an answer, that guy can go get the answer for you. And he always feels like he's up to the task with that. And so I just don't know why that always has to be a thing that's thrown out there. Like Peyton Manning had a good arm. It's not like it was a rocket, the biggest rocket in the league. He was just supremely accurate, the smartest quarterback maybe ever on the field. People who are at the knee of Dan Marino, that guy had God's arm, amazing. Yeah, there's guys who do have those video game numbers. Aaron Rodgers, obviously the Hail Marys that he could throw from whatever. But Tom Brady, who didn't have the biggest arm in the league, and he did a lot of that yard after catch thing and throwing to little garden gnomes all over the place. I just don't know why this is such a thing anymore. Like Tua has been the maestro of one of the most explosive offenses in the league the last couple of seasons. And yet it still seems to always be a thing of there. And I don't know why it bugs me so much. It just seems to. It's kind of like with, I was mentioning this day on the radio show. It's a little bit like Jimmy Butler, where it's like there always is like a caveat with Jimmy, but you can't just go out there with the Miami Heat and just say Jimmy Butler is a superstar. He's one of the best players in the league. Like there's always, he's one of the best playoff players in the league. He's a guy that you want. Is he one of the best players? No, but he's one of the best winners. It's like, you don't always have to put caveats and everything. Like everybody can be, just because not everybody shoots like Steph Curry or dunks in 2 steps like Giannis doesn't mean they can't also be excellent. And they're not 7'3". And people just, I feel like when you always add those little elements to it, it just diminishes the greatness that the guy has. And I genuinely think that Tua is blossoming before everybody's eyes and is showing what a great quarterback that he can be. But he was asked today, I think he was asked by Hal Habib of the Palm Beach Post about his ability to throw the deep ball. And I just thought this was a great explanation from Tua. I thought that this was a kind of a drop the mic moment, even though he technically can't drop the mic because he's at a podium with a stick mic. But if he did have a handheld mic, what else could you say if you're Tua?
I think when you look at deep shots, it entails everyone. It like for those like watching, it's like you can't just take a drop in the NFL and just decide, hey, because everyone says I can't throw the ball deep, let me just chuck this ball deep as far as I can. Like it entails everyone on the offensive side to work together, to be in symphony, and guys to be at the right places at the right time. Like timing has to be right, and if timing's not right, like when the pocket breaks down and it allows for you to do that, then it does. But like being able to do that, that's because of all the guys that I'm surrounded with.
Do you think that anyone is still saying you can't throw deep?
I don't care. I mean, I don't care. 466 is, that's what 466 is if I can't throw deep. Thanks.
Boom. Boom. You know, like he had a little bit of that last year where it was like, you know, not bad for a guy who can't throw the deep ball. Remember that from camp and you know, the money quote, of course, you know, that circulates Dolphins Twitter all the time, but that's a mic drop moment. Like, oh, 466, what else needs to be said if I can't throw deep? You know, against Mr. Rocket Arm himself and Justin Herbert. Where were his bombs? You know, Josh Allen, you know, Mr. Thor of a right arm. Where were his? Oh, they were going to the Jets. So, you know, I don't know, man. I think that as the weeks go on, if the success continues, then the noise will get less and less. And I do think that this guy has the makeup to go make people shut the hell up. But, man, I thought that was just such a cool thing for him to just put out there, because it's just like, you know, you still hear that stuff. It's like, well, you know, he's a distributor. He's a point guard. It's like the guy's just a really great quarterback. You know, the guy really just seems to, you know, I don't know who this dude was. I saw some guy, looked like he was 13 years old, still rubbing acne medicine all over his face, you know, talks with a little bit of a squeak in his voice. So I don't want to be too harsh on him, but he's like, you know, even he's just like, well, Tua's just buoyed by the playmakers. All right. You know, did you guys see Cleveland last year when he was throwing up monster numbers and they weren't to Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and it was to Trent Mother Bleep and Sherfield? No? All right. Well, whatever. What do we know, huh? What do we know, right? It's like Tua's also not like throwing passes to Ingold, and Durham Smythe's not getting 15-yard catches, and you're not getting, you know, big plays to River Craycraft in the red zone all the time. It's just like, no. He's always he's a product of Tyreek Hill, who has been, you know, with the GOAT, right? The GOAT quarterback, his most of his career. But where's his most receiving yards with? You know? So on a guy that everybody said, oh, well, he's not going to be able to get the ball to Tyreek Hill. It's the most addicting thing in the sport right now. Like the best thing in the sport right now. Give me something sweeter in this sport right now than the Tua to Tyreek Hill bomb. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. There is no, everybody else is just playing for second, you know? We could talk about best, we could talk about most dominant, whatever. Well, that connection right now is the most exciting, addicting thing to watch in this league. And they're great at it. And it's just it's a marvel to see. So I like the mic drop moment from Tua Tagovailoa with that stuff.